Good morning, everyone. My name is Imam Sikander Hashmi, Sikanderhashmi. I serve as an imam here in Ottawa. Today I'm speaking on behalf of Canadian Muslims. Imagine the city of Toronto was bombed nonstop, 24/7 for the past 3 weeks. Imagine if no Torontonian was allowed to leave. Imagine if all of Toronto's residents were forced into an area smaller than Scarborough with bombed out roads and collapsed buildings everywhere. Imagine if all supermarkets in that area were empty and you had to spend hours searching for a single loaf of bread. Imagine if through all of this there was no electricity and barely any water. Imagine if through all of this the number of children killed in Toronto was higher than the number of people killed on 9/11. Imagine on top of that the same number of adults were also killed in Toronto in the last 3 weeks. This is the reality the people of Gaza are living right now. I'd like to ask the Prime Minister, Cabinet, and his fellow world leaders, with respect, when is your conscience going to wake up? When are you going to be unable to sleep at night? When are you going to call for an immediate ceasefire? Who is holding you back? Your silence and inaction is shouting out loud that our blood and pain are worthless. Homes, schools, hospitals, mosques, even one of the oldest churches in the world, the Greek Orthodox Church of St. Porphyrius in Gaza, were hit by Israeli airstrikes. The church was sheltering Christians and Muslims, many of whom were killed. Every morning at my mosque, when I'm there to lead prayers, I see community members who have family members living through the horrors happening right now in Gaza. Every morning we pray, and when we're walking out, we ask how they're doing. A few days ago, I learned that Ali had lost 22 family members in Gaza. Uncles, aunts, everyone, children, women, grandparents, men. This morning, his children's school is wondering how to offer support to the family. These are not isolated incidents. Across Canada, there are families in grief, and their pain is linked to the abject failure of the international community. Sadly, Canada stands in shame today for allowing this travesty of justice to continue. We needed an immediate ceasefire 2 weeks ago to stop the death and destruction, and we need one even more today, right now. Vivian Silver was born in Winnipeg. She's 74 and an Israeli peace activist. She is believed to be one of the hostages currently in Gaza, along with possibly 200 others. Canadian media reports have her son as saying, quote, "My basic belief is that military actions don't solve anything," end quote. And then he goes on, and I quote once again, "The attack on October 7th, it was vicious and really brutal, but it happened in a certain context of this region of years and years of dehumanizing people from both sides," end quote. Sadly, we see that dehumanization and its effects playing out right now. So, Mr. Prime Minister, please speak up to protect the lives of innocent civilians. There are other Canadians trapped in Gaza as well. The horrible death and destruction being inflicted upon the people of Gaza is not helping bring any Canadian home. My friend Eamon in Sherbrooke, Quebec, writes, "This morning I spoke to my cousin after 4 days of being disconnected because he couldn't charge his phone in Gaza. He has 2 beautiful children, 7 and 8 years old. He also has a mom who is Eamon's aunt. His wife has multiple sclerosis, a debilitating disease. Yesterday, he spent 4 hours cycling on rough, demolished roads of Gaza to find a loaf of bread. When he found one, he told me, he felt like he was carrying $1 million. He was overcome with joy as he was walking home to feed his mom, 2 children, and wife with this loaf of bread. His wife has been without medicine for 2 weeks. Can you imagine how inhumane this is? Now imagine that this was intentionally done by Israel. This is not just the dictionary definition of collective punishment, this is genocide. Do you not see terrorism in these brutal, ruthless, inhumane actions? This was Eamon's post. I believe we all want peace. Peace will never emerge from the atrocities being committed right now in Gaza. So, Mr. Prime Minister, I hope you will take inspiration from past leaders like Prime Ministers Lester B. Pearson and Jean Chrétien. Speak up, stand up for what is right. You and other world leaders have the power to save lives. As at Muslim Life Canada in Instagram aptly stated, if you've ever wondered what you would have done during the slave trade, during the Holocaust and civil rights movement, you are doing it right now. We need a ceasefire. Now. Please. Thank you.
Will now take questions.